Hello there, and welcome back.
What is this place?
Disconnected.
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 You have reached a number that has been disconnected.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Disconnected. I have been, we'll say, kind of busy over the last 6 months, and I've been wanting to come back with some interviews that are a little more short form than what I used to do quite often. And some of the things that I want to highlight is other YouTubers that I feel like people should be watching for film and or physical media. And one of them is my friend Chuck here. I'll just say it right off the bat, everybody, before you hear another word, should go click on the button to subscribe. Go over to his channel, open that in another tab, and then when you get done here learning all about him, go put 12 of those videos in your Watch Later playlist and enjoy them. Chuck, thanks for hanging out with me tonight.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I was saying before, I'm very honored that you reached out and offered or asked me to do this interview and be on here. I never would have imagined in a million years I'd be doing something like this. So thank you so much.
Well, I got like a main thesis that we're going to talk about that I mentioned in the very first time I reached out, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I feel like people got to know you before we get into the headier stuff. So how about you tell people about who you are as a person before we get into the film stuff?
I'm one of the older guys on here. For all the people I've seen doing physical media on YouTube, I realize I'm one of the old guys. I just turned 50 back in March. I do have two kids at 10 and almost 15, so that's crazy. But I've always had a thing for movies since I was a little kid. Younger than them, honestly. And I talk about it on a video, which I think is the one that probably got your attention. Just kind of my quote unquote origin story. My mom used to take me to movies as a kid on a regular basis, and I just kind of grew up with that. And grew up during the 80s, which to me was such a great time to grow up, and the video store era. So movies on a weekend was a big thing, and it's funny because I talk about in the video. I never thought I was a collector. Mm-hmm. But I guess over time I was collecting stuff. I realized it wasn't until like 2021 I realized, hey, I'm a collector now, even though I had like 1,000 some movies at that point. But I was just buying because I liked them, So that's kind of me. I mean, I love. I don't have any particular genre. I like pretty much movies are movies.
Yep.
I love Oscar winners. I love schlock, and then everything in between. I even talked about adult films on my channel, for 18 and over, of course. But to me, film is film. Good, bad, and everything in between.
That is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because there's so many people that do this that they seem to buy only one type of thing or only watch one type of thing. And yeah, we all listen, everybody that does this, we all love horror movies, but we all can't just talk about horror movies all the time because it gets so samey. And when you can go specifically in your channel to three different videos and get three starkly different genres, it's somebody that I want to be able to talk to because they clearly enjoy a lot of different things.
Yeah, that is something I noticed when I first, started watching other physical media collectors. That a majority of it was, horror, cult kind of stuff, which I guess is the easy thing to really talk about. I mean, it's the widest range of, people. Not people are going and talking about, the 1927 Wings Oscar Best Picture silent film. So yeah, it's definitely the comfortable aspect, I guess, and. Which is, what got me in, because I talked about on that video, it was the Friday the 13th box set from Scream that came in. I was like, because I love Friday the 13th. It's like, okay, this comes in, I'm going to talk about it. And before that, it's like, I was listening to podcasts and stuff. I was like, I really want to do something. I started with comic books. I was a big comic book collector for a while, and I would listen to comic book podcasts, and I found movie podcasts, and these guys are all talking about this stuff, and it's really cool. I'm like hearing these conversations. I'm not really having them with them, but I'm in my mind kind of going back and forth with these guys. And like, how do I do that? How can I talk to somebody or, talk about what I like? And at the time, I didn't really have the ability or knowledge or know-how or equipment to put together a podcast, and I always wanted to do something like that. And then when YouTube came along, I started watching that, and I was like, I started seeing some of these guys, Christian Hanna Horror, Pizzal, these guys. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I could do that. I just don't know how.
Yeah. But
when that box is okay, this is, I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to do this. Of course, at that time, well, I should have known everybody's going to do that. It's that big thing, but I wanted to put my take on it as best I could. And those early videos are rough. I'm doing it from a laptop. They got the fisheye. I'm still working. I'm not that my videos are like high class now, but I'm still, they're all from a phone. I'm still doing the basic kind of editing just to get by. But that was kind of my thing. And then after a while, because it started off with just, okay, here's the movies I got. And then I started, I want to talk about this. I like these movies, and this is my chance to, branch out. I thought it'd be interesting because Vinegar Syndrome was selling 4K adult films. Like, who does that? And these are classics. I mean, they're filmed. Like I talked about in my very first video about that. Just because it's porn doesn't mean you can't be good.
Right.
And, so I said, I'll do this and see how it goes. And surprisingly, some of those got, really big views, which I don't know what it says about everybody else. But, even because I did a mini series, I recall it's like Cinema After Dark is what I kind of call it. And it's funny, I think my highest, or my most popular video is me talking about Felicity. It's got like over so many thousands of views, which blows my mind.
Yeah. Felicity it's a classic. Just plain and simple. The minute ago you just said going to the movies with your mom. Do you feel like she treated that as just like a fun thing, or did you feel like it was important to her?
I think in some ways a little both, but not like important. Like I want to teach them about movies. It was more like, cause she was a single mother, and it was just me and her. And, it was something for she and I to do. And our movie theater was, when I lived in Michigan, was like a block away from the house. Ooh. So it was in walking distance. So it's like every Friday, Saturday night, we walk to the movies, and it was a single screen theater. Wow. It's like an old theater. From what she tells me, and I don't remember because I wasn't paying, but she said it was like $1, ticket. Something was really cheap. So I doubt it was like probably first run. I don't know. But because I saw Star Wars there, I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, a lot of these classic Tron, all the movies in, that little theater. I remember we go across the street, they had like a fish and chicken restaurant. I can't remember what it's called, but that's what we do. But that was kind of the regular thing. And again, not thinking anything of it, but I would see these movies, and as a kid, they would kind of gleam onto me, and I would just, back then, obviously you had no home video. They weren't on TV. All you saw was a movie, and that was it. It was all in your mind from that point. And I would play these movies out as a kid, just being the characters. I would buy the novelization so I could relive the movie.
Ooh, nice.
And I would read it. That's how I learned to read at such an early age, because I was a prolific reader, and it was because of those. And I could hear the characters' voices in my head. I would read them out loud in those voices, and that's how I'd entertain myself. And it's like I got a bug without really knowing I was getting it. It wasn't the only thing she was doing. She just took me in. That was it. Then, of course, we had HBO. I would see movies. At that time, HBO played the same movie like 5 times a day. So you'd see it all the time. So that's how I saw a lot of those. And then I went to the library and I found books on like Universal horror films. I learned about, Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney and all these classics. And that's kind of how that started, just learning about somewhat of a history of film,
Nice.
So.
The novelizations is a, pardon the pun, but like a novel thing for a lot of people in this community. We don't hear a lot about them. Did you mostly stick to ones that you'd already seen the film for? Or did you branch out to ones that were brand new to you?
I think I primarily stuck to what I knew. Mainly because I wasn't looking for anything and just, it's Star Wars, we get that, or Star Trek or something like that. So that's primarily what it was. I mean, I had a few. I think I got like Conan the Barbarian, but I hadn't seen the movie because Mom wouldn't let me see Conan. That's too much. But I remember having that book. I don't know if I actually read it though, but I remember having the book.
Do you remember like the first novelization that got you into it?
Oh man, I want to say it probably was Star Wars.
Nice.
Because as a kid, I was born in '75, so.
You are the demographic.
Yes, Star Wars was my sweet spot. I mean, as a kid, that was the first big thing I remember was, I was born just before Jaws came out, Star Wars. I remember that Christmas, probably not, I didn't get the mail away, none of that stuff, but I do remember having a Christmas of Star Wars stuff. Yeah, but Star Wars was my thing up until, probably 84, 85. It helped me through some dark times.
That is great. First theatrical experience. Do you have like fond memories of that very first one? Do you remember it?
Man, I couldn't tell you my very first theatrical experiences. I have a couple of movies that I have very fond memories of. And one of my most fond memories, and this has to do with my dad. And I've talked about this a few times on my channel also. Yeah. But my dad, him and my mom weren't, together. It was a mutual thing. It wasn't anything like bad, but he and I were never really close, but I remember one specific Saturday, he took me out. We had lunch. He bought me this little die-cast Millennium Falcon, which was so cool. I really loved that. But he took me to see Flash Gordon.
Nice.
And,
that's a good day.
Yeah, and to that day, I love that movie to this day. And just like last year, I got to take my son to see it in the theater, which was like a really full circle experience for me. And I almost get emotional talking about it now because it was so cool to think, that my dad took me to see that, and then I was able to take my son to see it. So that's really cool, and he loved it too, which was awesome. And we both love Queen.
Did you buy him a die-cast Star Wars thing from one of the new movies?
No, because if I wanted to, I could not afford it at this time, as opposed to 1980.
I bet the new ones that are only like $15 because they're cranking out cheap shit for the new movies. I mean, it's so cool to just hear how so many of us had all these different experiences with theaters at not necessarily the exact same time, but like formidable experiences that will shape memories that you can relive with your own kids, that you are looking back on and say, when I watch Star Wars now, this is one of those core memories that I go back to and like can feel the air that I felt that day, or smell the nasty ass popcorn in this tiny Michigan theater that you went to. What were the audiences like back then in this tiny Michigan theater?
Pretty civil. I don't really call it any. Again, as a little kid, I'm not really focusing. Now, it could have been chaos for all I can remember. Yeah. But I don't want to call any, unreal. Everyone's pretty much come in, you sat down, you watched the movie. It was all pleasant. Obviously no one was on a phone. No one was screaming. People were in on time, which is my biggest pet peeve, especially now that you have reserved seats. I think you should, which actually it's probably why they come in late, because they figure their seat's always there.
And we're showing 25 minutes of previews first.
Oh my God. That is so, we went to see Superman over the weekend, and with IMAX, and the movie's scheduled to start 12:45. Was probably like 1:10. Is all previews. Just
when we went to F1, I timed it because I was curious, because these last two times it felt extra long. F1 had 32 minutes of things before the movie started.
That's crazy. I love a good watching trailers. I mean, I love trailers, but there's a point where let's get to the movie right now. I mean, to spend the money I'm spending, let's get to the movie.
That, and we're seeing 4 trailers, and then they're playing a couple ads. They're doing like 3 things for the theater. You're already in. You don't need to sell me. I'm here.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So let's get to your channel. Like, what do you tell people your channel's about? What is the mission statement of your channel?
That's a damn good question. Because the mission statement was basically just me getting off my ass and doing something.
Right.
That's really what it was. Like I kept saying, I want to do this. I want to do it. And it was kind of my catalyst just to do it. Yeah. And over time, it's kind of just been, like I said, first it was just, hey, I got this cool thing like you talked about before. And I'm, which is how it started. But, I'm trying to get a little bit better. I've never found myself being a good reviewer. I don't know, because I'm not the harshest critic, unless it's completely awful, so I don't know how, I can't get all the technical specs like a lot of people do, with color grading. I was like, this looks good. That's all I know, but I try to do that. But I also, in some cases, away from just like new releases, I've tried to get more into, I have some VHS stuff. I'll look back and just kind of, here's what I had a kind of a memory. I went through some, my collection of TV sitcoms and, how I like those. I talked about, recently I did a little video on 2 movies about the drive-in, because all the drive-in, and I talked about those, and again, I kind of do these more adult films because who else is doing those, and just talk about them because they're still films. And, I basically just kind of me just talking to somebody, hoping someone's going to listen to my opinions or my thoughts and just recollections, because that's kind of the things I gravitate more to. Yeah. Is, the discussions of the film and how did it make you feel? What's, what do you like? Do you have a memory of it that sticks with you, or, something along those lines? I have a video I talk about The Last American Virgin, which is my favorite 80s film. And I talk about, my history with it, my love of Diane Franklin, which I have an autographed picture of her right here under my Last American Virgin poster. Nice. But those kind of things, that just what resonates with me, and hopefully does it resonate with you? Can you, relate, those kind of things? And also I'm just still trying to figure out as I go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of new things. What can I do? And I'm surprised I've been able to make it as long as I have.
You do great stuff, Chuck.
Well, and that means a lot because I'm never quite sure. I mean, I would feel I see everybody else's stuff, and it's like wow, it's so good, so polished. I'm like, I'm doing what I can, and I'm proud of it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I'm also I'm the old guy coming in here and trying to keep up with these younger guys who are just doing all flashy and all those stuff. How do they have time to do this stuff? I can't do it.
I wish I knew, believe me. Some of these people that do literally a video every day, I want to take outside and strangle and just beg for them to give me some of their free time. Yeah,
the most I did with that was my son, because every now and then I have my son on the videos with me, Chris, which I try and push him, and he's more a music guy. He loves his music and a gamer, but I think he'll watch movies to hang out with me. Well, we've had a couple videos on here with him talking about stuff. Like I had him his first time he saw Beverly Hills Cop, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the original Super Mario Brothers movie, because he's a big Super Mario Brothers fan, which he absolutely loved, by the way. He loved that movie. That was so cool. Which I also love because he's not jaded. Right. Everything to him is like, if it's entertaining, it's fun. It's fine. He's not comic accurate, but it was still fun as hell. He loved it. But we also have, for instance, a shared love of all things Titanic, which was, as a kid, when he was real little, I don't want to change it off too much, but he said Titanic, heard about it. I said, well, you know what this is? And he said, no, I just heard it. I explained it to him, and he got fascinated right away. He was probably like 6 or 7. And he got the movie out, the 97 Titanic, and watched it as a 7-year-old. 3-hour movie. He watched all the extras. And I mean, he was just fascinated. He will watch the movie over and over again. So, and he did the research. He's read he and I were reading A Night to Remember. It was like the one thing we really bonded on. That was how he started learning how to read. I've taken we saw the 4K 3D restoration anniversary. We did videos on talking about that release. But for the anniversary this year, I decided we would watch every theatrical Titanic film.
Wow, nice.
And we did it as weekly countdown up to the anniversary, starting with 1930, a German version of Titanic, which we just sit down and watch it, and him and I just discuss it and have a few laughs or whatever. And it's also a time for he and I just to hang out, which is what I love more than anything. And if he gets some kind of exposure, enjoys the film, even better. So, but that's something we did. That's the one thing I was able to put in a can and have it set up to release weekly. That's the only time I've been able to do that. And that's I record it, and then I'm like, I'm gonna try and edit it tomorrow. If I get it pushed out, maybe the next day. It's all on the fly. It's very hard to pre-plan anything.
Oh yes, believe me, I know. Unbeknownst to you, these last couple of answers have kind of been the perfect transition. So I kind of want to get into the main thing that I really wanted to bring up here. Sure. That is when I'm scrolling through my subscriptions feed and I see that there's a new Chuck video. The main thing I always think back to is this feeling of desire for community, desire for, literally, like you just said, somebody to bounce these things back off of. And what's crazy is so many people that look at others that have a YouTube channel or a podcast, they think you're just able to talk to all these people about it. That's pretty cool. The reality is a lot of this is very isolating. And not even just on the creative side, but in 2025, loving movies is somehow a little isolating. Obviously, going to the theater, you're not conversing during the movie or anything like that, but even making the conscious effort to go to a theater is not something that a huge number in the population is doing in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. Even myself, like I said, we went to the theater to see Superman. That's the first time I've been in a theater in years. Now, I go to the drive-in regularly because one, it's cheaper. Well, and also, Chris and I have annual passes, so it's free. That makes things much easier. And I just love the drive-in experience because there, especially we have a small drive-in, and there's a lot of regulars. The same people you see every day. You can talk about these kind of movies, and that's why I love the driving experience so much, because there is that that community that's there. But I didn't really, like I said, know what my thing was until late in my 20s. Somewhere when I was getting all these movies, and because I just liked the movies, people are like, oh my God, you've seen every movie ever made. No, I haven't, but thanks anyway. I get that all the time. It's not true. Or you own every movie. No, I don't. But, it's like I never, all my friends, which are great, but they're all gamers.
Yep.
They love board. What I have in video or in movies, they have in board games. Shelves full of board games and sitting around the head, and that's it. So I've got no one to really discuss. And like I said, when I was watching the videos on YouTube and I'd see all these different people talking, and I would, notice that someone would, talk to other people and other channels and they bounce them. So it's like this little community, which I thought was kind of cool. And I just, like I said, me just wanted to get out there and talk about it somewhere. I mean, maybe no one's listening, but I'm getting it out for myself. Maybe someone's listening. That's great too. I just, wanted to discuss. It's all bothering. Who do I talk to about it? I've got no one.
Yeah.
I hear a conversation. I'm like, I'm having a conversation back and forth with someone who's not listening, but it's like they're saying something. I can chime in. Oh yeah, this. Or yeah, I know what you're talking about here. I can agree, but who do I talk to here? There's nobody. My wife will like, whatever, I got to go. She's not going to listen. I force my kids and they just, they try, but so yeah, that's, what I really enjoyed is, I watch these other YouTubers and, I've got a sense of the community. I mean, I've interacted with a few here and there, just comments, which is to me is cool. If they've even acknowledged me, that's awesome. My little small, channel, that's cool. And I enjoy that. I like it a lot because I feel like it's, I don't want to say like a safe space sounds stupid, but you can just say what you want and it's okay. You can laugh about it, your likes. You're just like, no one's going to go, oh, what are you doing? Because my problem I see a lot too is you have elitists on both sides. Oh yeah. Sometimes, you have the people who are like, oh, I only like these high end movies. That other stuff is trash. And you have the people who love the trash and the other stuff's pretentious crap. I'm somewhere in that middle, and I can like it all, and that's what I enjoy. We talked about, so many channels are just a lot of horror cult based, and it's hard to find anything well rounded, and that's what I try to be to meet everybody. Because I'm a people pleaser. I like to just make everybody happy. If they're gonna, whatever I can find, if they're enjoying it, it's not just horror, but it's something I may talk about, great horror, video nasty 1 minute. And then I'll talk about the Wizard of Oz next. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then Vinegar Syndrome, classic adult erotica the next week.
Yeah. Check out my Sex World reply. It was in honor of Kay Parker's passing, which was great because I love Kay Parker.
So the community side, this is where I feel like a hypocrite because I do a lot of my quote watching. Most of it is listening because I'm working, and so I can't keep the eyes on the screen while I'm doing paperwork, sadly. But I really want to try to force myself to maybe not comment on every single one because it doesn't always require that, but at least give that sort of feedback. A lot of people don't understand when you're doing this. 5 videos in a row, and you maybe out of that whole thing get like 2 comments. It's not necessarily discouraging, but the fact that you can reciprocate some of that energy back and just say, hey, Chuck, this is great. I had a story like that. And that means a lot to people like really you and I that are doing these.
It really does. And that was the thing about because I put a lot of videos, I don't always get comments on them. And when I do, it's like the same people, which is cool. I mean, I always, at the end of videos, I always say, leave a comment or just say hi. I'll always take hi. That's kind of my thing. It's just something. Yeah. But yeah, I had a thought. I lost it. Sorry.
Leaving a comment, telling a story, sharing shared experiences, maybe.
Oh man, I did. It totally went blank. See, that's what happens. You get old. I just it went there, and I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well, I will say, you are right. One of the first videos that I discovered for you, it was, I don't know, something just so personal and relative about the way that you were speaking. You could tell that it was not rehearsed. It was not something. Go ahead. I'll let you get the thought.
No, it's back to that. That video. That's one of the ones I got a lot of comments on. People really, like, because the one about my origin story, what the last 4 years been about, and that was that point. Because at that point, it was, like I said, I was at the end of last year. I realized I was about to turn 50. Yeah, and you get there, a lot of things are. You're running through your head, and I just wanted to, and I realized I never talked about what I'm doing, why am I here, or where I come from, and that's what that was. Just to put it out there. I was like, it's a long video. I don't know if anyone wants to hear me ramble for that long, but I got a lot of good feedback from it, which was great. And then I have some videos where I, think this is a pretty cool topic, and then nothing. And then you get weird stuff like I talked about before, Felicity, and it's got like 60 some thousand views. I'm like, wow, okay. Or like I did a video just talking about the steelbook for Body Double, and and I got in and I was talking about how much I love this movie, and within like a day it shot up to over like 1,000 views. Like, wow, okay. So now my personal video hasn't got anywhere near that, but still.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So many of these things, like you could talk about just things that we're all used to necessarily, but even just throwing in a comment as feedback or sharing a shared story can literally change the way that your week is going sometimes.
Yeah. And that's something I will try to, if I'm watching, other videos and they're talking about, some of their, going like, for instance, like with Christian Ann Horror or playing CHH or, Born to Be Rad. They do a lot of nostalgia videos. Bring out VH, and that's really cool because that's stuff I remember. And I will comment, "Hey, I remember this," or "Hey, I have that in my collection too. This is pretty cool." That kind of thing. And anytime they respond back, that's cool. Or a couple times they've responded. I did a video on Twilight Zone movie talking about that, and I got some response on that, which I thought was really cool. Commenting, and that's really cool. It's a great video that you got that, because there was a whole talk about where that DVD was still active now because of the Warner Brother rot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the little comments I get is always cool. I've had a couple people talking about, some of their stories with some of the films I talked about or movies, which is anything they're sharing with me is great. And like I said, if they just want to say hi, that's cool too. Any kind of engagement, I'll take. Yeah. And I've been lucky; I haven't got anything negative to this point, so that's always a plus. Everything's always been very positive, and that's a great feeling. I really do like anytime I get. I'm not a person that I try to be a person that's watching. Every 5 minutes I get how many likes have I got, how many clicks have I got. But it's still cool. I don't want to say you're searching for gratification, but in a lot of ways it is, and it is nice. I
mean, it's not necessarily gratification, but even just to show that people care in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
It matters. It's an emotional connection. And the reality is it's very one-sided until the viewer takes that extra step to say, hey, I'm here and I like what you're saying, Chuck.
That's absolutely, absolutely right. And I looked at it that way, but you're right. It's very one-sided. And yeah, it's definitely a great feeling when you do get that comment. Like I said, when you reached out to me, I was like blown away because I'm like, for one, I was lucky because your email took my junk mail, so I almost didn't see. And then I was like, is this for real? Because I didn't think it was for real at first. And I'm like, you must talk to me? I mean, me, my little, So, I mean, yeah, and that was like, that blew me up, it's just like so cool, and again, thank you for having me again. But yeah, it really was, it meant a lot. And, to think that my personal story or whatever could reach out to somebody, and actually to a few people commented on that video, and I really appreciated that.
Well, I've got a couple other bigger ones, but I want to just get the nerves out for a moment. So I'm going to go through some real quick questions. Okay. No discussion here, just off the top of your head.
Okay.
Top 3 favorite movies of all time.
My top favorite movie is probably Empire Strikes Back. I'll say Smokey and the Bandit.
Nice.
Ooh, man. Maybe Gone with the Wind.
Oh, interesting choice. Yeah. Interesting. All right. One movie that you've never seen in the theater that you would pay almost anything to see a rep screening for?
Ooh, man. Let's see. Because I've seen a lot of them. Wow. It's hard because I've managed to see so many of them. I'm going to say Last American Virgin. I doubt that will ever happen, but I'd love to see that because I love that movie so much. I would love to see that on a theater screen. But, I mean, as far as the big ones, I've seen them all.
Right. So, other than Last American Virgin, the one that you wish you could have been there on opening night?
Ooh. Probably the original Star Wars.
Cultural moment right there. All together. That's a good call. The movie that you are most dying to show your kids that you haven't yet?
Well, for my son, I think I really want to show him The Breakfast Club, especially at his age right now. My daughter, I don't know yet. She's.
It's a good call. Go-to snacks for a movie theater.
Well, the obvious is popcorn, but I do like a good at the drive-in. Like I get a oh my gosh, it's so good I can't remember what it's called. Tenderloin. That's it. Tenderloin.
Nice. This is what I'm going to say is the last one, and we're going to go kind of long on this one because I really want to hear this one for you. What do you want for your YouTube channel, Chuck? Look inside. What do you want for the future? What is something that you feel like would be exactly what you've been searching for in doing this?
I would like, if possible, to be able to have more moments like this. You know, being able to reach out to other YouTubers and, and just have that kind of, back and forth, be able to have the conversation. Yeah. I have never done a live stream or anything like that. I don't know if I'm quite set up or have the capability, but I see a lot of those. I think they're always fun to watch when you have a bunch of people get together and they talk. And I love that kind of thing. I would love to be able to do something like that. Have more people able to put more stuff out that people are going to connect with, whether it just be, talking about something that's maybe obscure they don't know about and introducing them to it, or just sharing, stories, their experiences, what it means to them, or, going back and forth on that kind of thing. And just, like I said, it's keeping engagement. I don't know if I really have a long-term plan. These kind of things I never plan. I just kind of, because I don't want to, I guess I don't want to be the person that I want to make this channel huge. I want to be a big media superstar. I am realistic about that. I'm just here.
The influencer, come on.
Yeah. I'm just here, to talk to whoever wants to listen about these movies and whatever, else like, my, and that if that interests you, if that pleases you, it makes you happy, then that's it for me. I'm, whether I have I just checked 606 followers, which, wow. Okay. When I first started this, I figured I didn't expect to get 10, but the fact that I got that many subscribers blows my mind, and I'm grateful for every one of them. And if I'm entertaining you and that's all I ever get, that's great too. As long as if I'm entertaining those people and they're following me and they're enjoying what I'm seeing or what I'm showing, then I feel accomplished, Yeah.
Well, I spent most of this talking about that connection. So what makes you feel good when people try to connect with you? So if we get, 4.3 million views on this video, and everybody watches and says, I love Chuck, I want to go get closer to him. What kind of comments are you looking for? What makes you feel the most gratified?
I think anytime I've had people, just again say, I like what you do, or, hey, I remember that I had this kind of fond memory of this movie too. Or I remember I've had a couple comments for certain movies where people give me their big, long story of their memory, which I think is so cool. They share that with me, those kind of things, whatever it is that I'm talking about, how it affects you, or it whatever memory it may bring up and you're willing to share. I'd love to hear that. And that's the kind of connections I like, again, sharing those experiences. What makes, these things so special to you is why they're so special to me is why I'm sharing them with you, that kind of thing.
I will say, everybody that's watching this, since at the beginning I told you to subscribe, and you already did, obviously. When this ends, before you go watch one of his videos, go watch the movie The Last American Virgin, because most people have never seen it. Somehow it's still very underseen. And then go find a random Chuck video that has nothing to do with Last American Virgin. And just to confuse new viewers, go comment something about you watching that movie and your thoughts on that movie under all of his videos. It would be incredible.
That would be great. I would love that, actually.
Chuck, thank you so much for doing this. I genuinely hope that we see those 600 numbers bump up by hundreds more. You are just such a kind person that is clearly doing things for the right reason, just wanting to share who you are in a time where, let's be honest, a lot of these relationships that are almost turning into parasocial relationships are losing the humanity out of this. And I think that is what brought me to you. Like, a lot of your conversations are simply human, and in these content forward days, I think a lot of those videos have lost their soul, and you are bringing that up.
Thank you. And real quick, I just want to ask you now.
Yeah.
How did you find me, or what drew you to me in the first place? I'm really curious to know.
Well, there's actually a really incredible happenstance here. Is I look through my subscriptions feed before I watch things. I add them to my watch later so I can watch them all during the day at work. But the other thing I do is, just because I watch so much, I always get recommended things. And that video was recommended, and it was in my watch later playlist. And it was something I was going to get to in like the next 4 days or whatever, because I'd never seen any of your videos before. And then serendipitous, I don't know how this happened, one of my subscribers emailed me and said, you should watch this video by somebody else that I watch named Chuck. And I was like, I've already got it saved. This is incredible.
Wow.
I will bump it up. And so I made sure to focus on that. And that first one, I made sure to watch it literally like on a break from work, so I could sit and just, like this is great. I love that he's getting this personal. And
wow.
I knew that literally that moment that I wanted to email you and try to get you on here, because people need to hear your voice. They need to hear your stories. You're somebody kind of like myself that is raising a couple kids, that is doing their best to share movies with a generation that's kind of turning their back on movies, and doing that in a way that is creative on YouTube as well. And I appreciate that you don't just cover one genre. I appreciate that you are not like nostalgia baiting everything, because that it's a little grating on my opinion, but I love that you're just here for positivity. And that's something that I've gotten, we'll say, chastised before, because I don't like shit on movies, and it's not fun. I want to talk about things I like.
Actually, I did my most recent video was my thoughts on the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
And I had to redo it like 3 times, because the first 2, I was like going on a tangent about all the negative social media about how people wanted this movie to fail so badly. I'm like, what are we even doing? Why do people, I don't get it, but I was like, okay, let's get too negative. Like I had to redo it 3 times, and the third time basically is as bland as possible until it wouldn't be, because it was just like, but I mean, I don't like that either. I mean, I find that people will just watch stuff and just, rage review for whatever reason, and again, for clicks or whatever. And I'm, like I said, I'm not the harshest critic. I get that. I'm going to watch stuff. It's why it's hard for me to review. Like I've said before, is I don't know if I'm giving a good review. I just know what I like, and it looks good to me. I'm enjoying it. It works. I try to stay as positive as possible.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's frustrating when you see all these people that do the constant rage reviews, and you notice, hey, they're all just over that monetization time limit. Look at that. They're all like 12 minutes. Amazing. How do they always do that? I don't know. It's a weird situation. And the reality is, film analysis, like proper film analysis and film criticism, is very difficult. And most of these people cannot do it whatsoever. It's mostly like, the acting was fine. And I will be completely honest, on my shows every week that I do on my Thursday night show, that's kind of what I stick to, because I'm trying to get through it in like 40 seconds. But if I really wanted to break something down, like I could. It's just, it takes a lot of time to do something like that. It really does,
yeah. And I don't want to waste the time on the video. I mean,
right.
And I want to be as, like I said, my thought too, if I'm doing a review, I try to want to be as, like I said, as genuine as possible. Just my heart, my honest feelings, straightforward. Not just, I don't want to psychoanalyze, because not everything needs to be psychoanalyzed.
Not at all.
A movie can just be a movie, and you can just have fun with it. It doesn't have to have an agenda. It doesn't have to mean this. It can just be damn good and just fun. That's it. And that's what I try and keep at as much as possible.
Well, speaking of that, if anybody wants a damn good and just fun channel, please go to subscribe to Chuck, like I said at the beginning.
Thank you.
Links in the description below. Chuck, keep doing it. I know that sometimes it can be discouraging. I want you to keep going. You are important in this community. And oddly enough, even though it can be sort of disjointed sometimes, it is absolutely community. And you're a part of mine. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, Chuck, we'll talk again soon. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Disconnected Podcast. There's one big thing that you could do to help the show, and that is to leave a rating and review on the podcast service of your choice. Thank you.